Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Due to popular demand, and by popular demand I mean the 5 guys that have actually commented on the videos, uh, here is a little quick tour of my rack. Please note that for the most part all of my stuff is turned off because otherwise the sound would be unbearable. I currently have one server, two server, and a disk shelf that is currently powered on, but everything else, for that matter, is absolutely turned off. So, um, just to preface it a little bit, I'm gonna tell you guys initially why there's a server rack in my garage and what I've been doing with it, and in all honesty, my vision for it did not come true, and for the moment, one of the reasons why all of the majority of my servers being turned off is exactly because I'll be essentially revising the whole structure. I've been really wanting to play with the VX Rail from Dell equivalent from HP. Oh man, what's it called? The HP Green Lake, I think, the Green Lake project. So I do have the infrastructure for it. I will eventually have the storage for it because these things are heckin' expensive. And in terms of power and networking and all of that good stuff, it's gonna take a while for me to do like a full revision, but it will come along at some point. I do want you to know none of this stuff is sponsored. This has all been bought with my own money and my own savings. Like I said, because I was using it for something else initially, and because that did just straight up not work out, it is gonna be repurposed. There's a bunch of other servers as well. There's a Super Micro in here. There's one of my DL380s. This is just an empty chassis for the moment, but what's gonna happen is this server from here is gonna go into that chassis, and it's gonna become a backup server. And I have two more of my DL380s, a dumb 48 port switch, and a couple of layer 3 48 port switches. So these were sorry, these were all business related, or business infrastructure oriented. It was something that, like I said, it will go a little bit into more detail when I get around to it. But these, I don't really need them for what's going on in the rack, because the rack itself is for the most part complete, even though it looks the way it does. So let's please I apologize for the whole mess in the garage, but it is a garage after all. So let's take it from the top, and we're gonna go from this. So this is a ProLion DL320E Gen 8 V2. It is the short depth version of the DL320E Gen 8. Simply because it is something that's relatively compact and I can use it for networking. Currently, it has a crypto card, and it's getting a small upgrade to what's this one? And it's getting a small upgrade to Connect X3 Pro dual 40 gigabit NIC. I'll get around to why I'm going with a dual 40 gig NIC after, but currently it has a dual 10 gig as well as a crypto card and the the dual onboard gigabit Intel i331 question mark, I believe. But in terms of what this is used for, it is absolute overkill, and I absolutely love it. On the second step, this is a DL20 Gen 9. This is a Intel Xeon 1280 V6 with 64 gigs of RAM. It's got a 128 gig boot SSD, and these are all 240 gig SATA SSDs. I'm using the onboard SATA B140i smart. Sorry, it's not really a smart array, but like the fake RAID controller from HP, as well as a 10 gig card. This server right here manages all the sorry, used to manage because it doesn't anymore. Whoopsie daisy. Sorry. Let's turn it back off. So this server used to manage all the um, administrative purpose related VMs, and we're talking about like the network control VM, the Active Directory, the update server, the Pixie deployment server, like everything you could think of that was administratively um, that had like an administrative purpose. This is where it would be managed from, and it used to be a Windows Server 2021, and then I moved over to Proxmox. I believe right now it's everything has been wiped clean due to the whole repurpose of this whole rack, but it will most probably continue to be an administrative purpose server. And again, it's just one of those, as you can see, short depth servers. Next, we have a DL60 Gen 9. This one is dual E5 2660 V4s with 128 gigs. Sorry, with 30. Wait, yeah. Okay, back up. So 2660 V4, 128 gig boot SSD, and right now for the moment it has 32 gigs of RAM. It is only connected to power and the lights out interface because I don't have storage for it yet. However, this is just an interim backup server, and this is gonna get replaced with the Supermicro box that's under there. The motherboard that's in the Zeus Hive box is gonna go in there, and this is a slightly lower power. I think it's like a 400 watt max TDP with 8 drive bays, and this is what's gonna come in here to be an interim backup server. Next on the list, all right, let me go down over here for a sec. Next on the list is my first virtualization server. This is a DL380 Gen 9. Currently, it has dual 2650 V4s with 64 gigs of RAM. It has I have to go to the back to show you the boot caddy. So it has the rear caddy with the dual drives. So all the DL380s have it, by the way. So there's 3 DL380s and 3 dual caddies. So it's got dual 128 gig SSD in RAID 1 mirror. So just in case one of the drives dies, I believe P440AR. I think it's hooked up to a P440AR via expander. I have to open it up to remember because it's been a while since I've last opened them. But it's got replication. It's got replication purposes for the boot drive, and then this is oh no, this fell apart. Okay, so I have to fix that. But inside here for the data drives, there's 6 times 900 gigabyte drives. I'm gonna leave this here until I can fix it. And then number 4, there we go, is a SAS SSD, which is a 400 gig 6 gigabit per second SAS drive. So the purpose of this server in particular is that all it does is it hosts anything that I currently used to okay, let me back up a little bit because I want to explain what I used to do with this, and then I will explain who, what, when, where, why. So I used to offer remote storage services, remote cloud storage to I don't want to say big clients, but they were big to me because somebody who has 10 workstations and requires 2 terabytes of storage space, that to me is a big client. Even though to some of you guys, it's considered a small client. So on my virtualization servers, I would give them a virtual machine, Linux based, because I didn't have to worry about licensing fees. Um, and they could have, with this virtual machine, some storage on the system as well. And then depending on their needs and requirements, maybe it will go up, maybe it would go down. But the purpose of this server and these 3 servers as well would be exactly that. It would be just host some storage and then host some virtual machines for whoever would need them. Going underneath that, there is a DL360 Gen 9. The reason why I went with a 380, 360, 380, 360 is because it was at the time cheaper than straight out 4 380s. When I bought these from an auction at $200 a piece, and they were CTO, meaning they were empty. They didn't have any caddies, they didn't have any processors, they didn't have a storage controller, they didn't have any RAM, they didn't have anything. They didn't even have the FlexLOM card on the back. They just came with the power supplies, the motherboard, and the chassis, and that was it. So when I bought these 2, I guess the vendor realized how cheap they were selling them. And when I went back to get another 2 of these, I could no longer find them at the price that I bought them, and well, they basically had another 0 in the back, even as a CTO. And I could not justify the new price of the DL380s. However, me being in Canada, I have the advantage of working with Calgary Wholesale over in Manitoba. And the 360s, I ended up buying them for $40 a piece with $90 shipping tags. Oh, but you're gonna say, oh, what's the point if it's still $130? Well, guys, we're talking about $130 per server for a fully configured in the sense that it had a CPU, it had RAM, and it had storage controller, and it powered on and it worked exactly the way I wanted it to. I updated the firmware and then I shut them down. Same thing for this one. So about $130, $135 each for those 2 servers, and I think it was about $100 US for both of these servers, if I remember correctly. So just back on the topic, like I said, I used to have a little business going on where, again, I know I'm kind of repeating myself, but it was basically cloud storage for a server, for a client, sorry, and just a little bit of compute space for somebody who absolutely needed me to store something that they would need to access via VPN. And this is what the purpose was of these 4 machines. So they are similarly spec'd, and I'm gonna potentially pull the plug on these 2 because there's no point in them just sipping power even if they are off. But yeah, they're all 26 dual 2650V4s with 64 gigs of RAM and 6 times 900 gig 10K RPM SAS drives and 2 and 2 400 gig SSDs, depending on what needed to be stored. They would otherwise be straight 900 gig drives, and they would be configured in depending on what I needed them to be configured in, they would be configured in whether it's going to be ZFS or RAID, because I don't remember on top of my head what was the controller in each one of them. I believe all 4 of them came with the P440AR, like the RAID controller, rather than the H240AR, which is just the HBA. Don't worry about the blanks. I'm sure the hard drives are somewhere here around in the garage. Just they are pulled out. Going down to the big boy, as you can see, it is empty, but this is another DL380 Gen 9. It is currently spec'd Duo 2660, I think, V3s with 128 gigs of RAM. I bought this for $250 fully spec'd. It came with a P840, not the AR version. So it did sell the P840 for close to $200. So essentially, this server cost me $80 plus shipping. And I'm in the process of saving up for a P840 AR, which is the same thing as the P440 AR, except it has the dual wide ports on it rather than the dual 8087 ports. And the purpose of this this server right here is purely storage. It's got a H241 HBA on the back of it. I will go and show you guys. And it's connected to this disk shelf right here. This is a IBM Storewise V7000. As you can see, there are some caddies that are popped out, and then there's some drives that are popped in. So the first 10 drives, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. The first 10 drives are sorry, if I remember correctly, they're 2.4 gig, 12 gigabit per second, Seagate, or sorry, not Seagate, HGST Exos drives. If I remember correctly, I have to double check that, but I'm fairly sure this is what they were. And then you have 5 more drives, which were just the HP 300 gig, 15K RPM, high speed, high IOPS storage. And then these are off because they're empty, but this is the HP 3-par 24 drive base shelf. Again, these are empty, so you don't have to you don't have to think that I'm messing with you or anything. They will eventually have full collection of I think the cheapest one that I have right now on from my supplier are 8 terabyte drives. So 24, 48 drives of 8 terabyte each. The 8 terabyte drives are, I believe, 12 gigabit per second, but I can't really take advantage of the full 12 gigabit per second simply because these shelves are 6 gigabit per second anyways. So I mean, whatever is 48 times 8, 8 times 8, 64, and 320, about 400 terabytes, I suppose. Wait, sorry, nope. 8 times 8 is 64, 396, 400 terabytes is essentially what I'm going to be putting here in this 48 shelf drive. And then another 12 that I would eventually populate. These are going to be directly attached to the storage controller, so these 12 are going to be fully used at their 12 gigabit per second rated speed, rated bandwidth. And this will remain and continue to be the storage stack. So I do have 10 more empty caddies. I don't know what else I'm gonna use them for. I'm just gonna wait until I could potentially find 2.4 terabyte 2.5 inch drives and then just shove them in here and call it a day. That way I'll have 48 terabytes plus whatever, a terabyte and a half, I guess. Yeah, 48 terabytes plus terabyte and a half. But until then, they're just gonna remain propped out. I do have somewhere, I think this is it right here. Yeah, this is my old shelf. This is yeah, there. This is my old shelf, and each one of these drives, there's where are they? These are all 900 gig drives. I just got. Oh yeah, there we go. So these are all 900 gig 10K RPM drives, every single one of them. So I have about just under 22 terabytes in this shelf in here as well. So as you can see, going from 22 and a half to close to 50 terabytes of space in a shelf, it's a pretty big. So the warning light you guys see over here is just the second power supply that's not plugged in. So as soon as I plug it in, it'll go away. But for my use case, especially because I'm no longer in business providing my services to my customers anymore, I don't need redundancy, as you can see, pretty much essentially everything without storage and without the PF Sense, my gateway, are on. So I really do not need redundancy. So I'm just gonna have to oh man, poor thing. I'm just gonna have to change the caddy on this and throw this one away because it's falling apart. Okay, so let's go back into the back of the cage and take a look at the networking side. And I need the ladder. Just a sec here. Yeah, I got a mini two-step ladder because I'm literally 5 feet tall. I mean 5 feet short. So I hope you guys understand my my suffering. Okay, so in terms of networking, I have a Dell Power Connect 24 port, which I might potentially replace with one of the 48 ports over there sitting by the door. What you see here is the I don't know what this device exactly is called, but this is the gateway for Bell's business line. So I have symmetrical 940, or honestly, you could just call it symmetrical gig because it surpasses gig speeds. Most of the time, like on a good day, it'll be 1.1, 1. Yeah, close to 1.1, considering the fact that I don't really know how it gets 1.1, but yeah, I have it somewhere in my files. A quick snapshot of it actually hitting close to 1.1. It's like 1.09 or something. But yeah, it's actually pretty cool. So essentially, I have symmetrical gig fiber on a small business plan. The 24 port that I will eventually replace with a 48 port is my home. This is basically going to the basement of our house, and it's all our wireless devices, all of the computers that we play video games at home and stuff like that, and everything else. So this is just a random cable for testing purposes, but everything that you see in black is the integrated lights out. Everything that you see in gray is the the access port for the server itself, and everything that you see in yellow is the combination ports, essentially the servers that have a mandatory share port. Like for example, the DL 60. Wait a minute. Why is this a gray cable? This is supposed to be a yellow cable. Whatever. Basically, the DL 60 has a shared port for its internal network and its integrated lights out. So all the 3 servers that have a shared port are designated with a yellow cable. Moving on. This is it's currently not populated into anything, but this is a MikroTik CRS. I don't know if you guys can see it very well. It's a come on, get in there. It's a 328 24 SFP plus 2Q RM. Essentially, it's a 24 port 10 gig switch, as you can see, SFP plus with 40 gig uplink. It's not really, it's only connected through the cables, but I haven't finished configuring it simply because like I said, I haven't even, I'm nowhere near close to finishing the repurposing of my machines. But essentially, is what I plan on doing is every server that has a 10 gig SFP, I will be hosting. I will be messing around with virtualization. So I'm gonna repurpose this whole rack into training material for myself, into potentially going deeper into the Cisco certificates. We're talking Linux. We're talking cybersecurity, white hat, great hat, pen testing, and what I'm essentially gonna do is I'm gonna create like a little corporate environment across all of these servers. So this is going to be accounting, this is going to be database, this is going to be I don't know, department B or C or whatever, and I'm going to host like different virtual machines on it, and then I'll try to penetrate it and you know, hopefully develop my skills in both cybersecurity, network protection, network administration, and the whole 9 yards. But another reason why I kind of want to develop with link aggregated dual 10 gigs. So essentially, each server is gonna have 20 gigs of effective bandwidth, is because I want to also mess around with iSCSI, booting from iSCSI, remote storage. I want to see and learn more about block storage, about what's the other one called? About, you know, basically just say it as remote storage, which is one of the other reasons why, if we go down here just a little bit, I did invest into a 12 gig HBA. So as you can see, these are dual 8436s, and they, sorry about the mess, and they go down into the 2U shelf, which is here and here. The reason why is because I want to take advantage of the full 12 gig bandwidth for more throughput. And one of the fast access storage that I have, the 15K RPM drives, I want to potentially start hosting some game servers as well on this rack. When I have a better understanding of how I want to implement it, I guess it would be my way of putting it, and having access to 12 gig capable infrastructure would definitely be a game changer. So as you can see, just everything is still plugged into their gig interfaces. But when I'm done revising the network, getting rid of all these cables that are no longer needed, I'm essentially gonna leave the lights out modules plugged in. However, all of these are going to get disabled, and all the servers are going to have effective 20 gigabit per second across two link aggregated interfaces. And you know, that's pretty much my rack. You guys, it's on the hardware side, it's in terms of compute and storage power, it's not really sorry, it's not really anything spectacular, because this is very low budget, right? Like, I maybe have spent $3,000 across this whole equipment, and you know, $3,000 plus a little bit on top for shipping, maybe 3,500 for shipping in total. And that's because most of this stuff has been refurbished, and you know, with the exception of the two DL380s, this was bought refurbished, 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 this DL380 was bought refurbished, bought refurbished, bought refurbished, bought refurbished. And you know, this is just basically my embarrassment. I bought a C3000 way before COVID, so I've been just using it as a stabilizing weight. And I have a total of 14 blades that I still have no idea what to do with them. Um, but yeah, this right here is my biggest embarrassment, honestly, because I never found purpose for it. So yeah, in terms of the computational and storage infrastructure, it's not really anything spectacular, and the my pride and joy, I guess, that I would call it is definitely my networking side of things. Considering the fact that I have um, effectively 20 gig throughput between all of my servers, with 4 gigabit from my home network to my storage. Oh, something I did forget to mention is that the 6224, I have the 10 gig module on the back of it, so it's got two 10 gig ports. I want to see if potentially you guys can see it over there. Right there. This is the 10G SFP module for the switch. So that switch itself also has effectively 20 gigs of uplink bandwidth, and realistically, you're gonna look at me and say, well, do you really need it? And the answer is no, not really. But at the same time, we're talking about for the type of service, for what I want to do in between of like server data transfer and storage capacity and speed and bandwidth. This is essentially a closet that could be found in a huge corporate environment, but for home use, not really. The only reason why everything is still on the single gig is because I haven't needed the 10 gig single link or the 20 gig link aggregated bandwidth or anything like that. I have been more than happy with working with everything on 1 gig, but because I have really high visions for everything in here, it's gonna get moved on to 20 gig effective at a minimum. So that's pretty much it. I mean, it's definitely, this whole rack has definitely been my pride and joy, except for you. You're a total embarrassment. But everything from here upwards has been a total pride and joy. I love working with Hewlett Packard. I really wish that they would revise their policies, and for servers that are out of service pre-Gen 10, I really wish they would revise and release the BIOS files for the latest version, because I'm still sitting at BIOS revision 290, which was I believe April 2021. And if I don't protect these properly, there's definitely gonna be somebody who can easily take over these machines and do anything. So this is actually another one of the reasons why I haven't really hurried up to do anything. But eventually, right? Like, it's coming. It's definitely coming. I know that Minecraft is still one of the biggest, most popular. I really hesitate to call it an MMO, but it's one of the more popular games that people just love to play. And me having essentially 1.5 terabytes available for data, maybe I could play around with it as well. Like, I haven't really decided yet. You think Linus Tech Tips has a big server for Minecraft gamers and everything? Well, Linus, come at me, bro. Thank you so very much for watching. This was a not so very brief introduction to my rack, what I used to do with it, what I kind of plan on doing with it. it's not really something that's gonna happen overnight. It's definitely gonna be something that takes a little bit of time to accomplish, but it'll happen eventually. Like at the very least, I promise you that it will happen. It's just a matter of coming and being available essentially full time. But because of work and everything, I'm still stuck out of town, and I come home maybe once a month to work on these, and I can't really dedicate just a single weekend to do everything I wanted to do. So it does take a little bit of time. I did sort of see that it went from my channel went from 30 subscribers to 140. Thank you so very much. I would encourage you, if there's something that you kind of potentially want to see me mess around with, let me know. I'm definitely looking for more suggestions, but in terms of what I wanna do with it, it's definitely, I definitely have at the very least a set plan in motion for it, and I will eventually act on it. It's just a matter of finding the proper time to do it. But yeah, no, please, definitely, how does that spiel go? Like, subscribe, throw me a suggestion down in the comment box. If you do have any additional questions, please don't hesitate. I'll be more than happy to answer. I've been loving the comments and the questions that you guys give, and we could potentially look into the enterprise grade switches configuration, so we can definitely play around with that. It's none of my network, just as a heads up though, none of my network is IPv6 ready yet. I still have a long way to go for that, but it might definitely be in the books when my service provider goes full IPv6, but for now, not really. Simply because it's not needed, and IPv4 is so much simpler. But yeah, no, thank you so very much for watching the video. Like, subscribe, throw me a comment down at the bottom, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Keep the Homelabers lifestyle going, guys. Bye.